What happens when a narcissist loses control over you? Have you ever felt like someone had a grip on your mind, your emotions, and even your reality, only for that grip to suddenly slip? Maybe it was a partner, a friend, a family member, or even a boss who once seemed to have total control over you. But now, something has shifted. They feel it. You feel it. And for the first time, you're seeing what happens when a narcissist loses control. This is not a moment they handle well. A narcissist's control is built on fragile ground. It looks solid, but the moment you step back, question it, and refuse to play their game, everything starts to crumble. When they realize they can no longer manipulate you, they go through a psychological storm, ranging from confusion to desperation, from charm to cruelty, and sometimes even complete destruction. But here's where you hold all the power. This moment, the moment they lose control, is your turning point. I know it's not easy. You've been conditioned to react, to explain yourself, to seek their approval. But today, we're breaking that cycle using one of the most powerful philosophies of all time, Stoicism. The Stoics, philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, understood something narcissists hate. Real power comes from within. Narcissists want you reactive, angry, guilty, desperate. Because as long as they control your emotions, they control you. But what happens when you stop reacting? When you stand firm, unaffected by their chaos? They lose. And you win in the most profound way possible. The goal isn't revenge. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about mastering yourself so they can no longer influence you. As Epictetus said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In this deep dive, we'll break down exactly what happens when a narcissist loses control over you. Why they need control, the moment they feel it slipping, the desperate tactics they use, and most importantly, how to use Stoic wisdom to rise above it all. By the end of this, you won't just understand narcissists better, you'll understand yourself better. Because once you truly grasp this, you'll never be controlled by a narcissist again. Number 1. Understanding the narcissist's need for control. If you want to break free from a narcissist's grip, the first step is understanding why they need control in the first place. Because trust me, this isn't just about power, it's about survival. Narcissists don't just want control over you, they need it. Their entire sense of self is built on a fragile illusion, one that requires constant validation, admiration, and dominance over others. Without control, they feel exposed, weak, insignificant. At their core, narcissists are deeply insecure, even if they never show it. Their arrogance, their superiority complex, their constant need to be right, it's all a mask. They fear being unimportant, and that fear drives them to manipulate, deceive, and dominate others to maintain their false sense of power. Think about the ways they've tried to control you. Maybe they showered you with love and attention at first, only to pull away and make you desperate for their approval. Maybe they used guilt, anger, or silent treatment to make you question yourself. Maybe they made you feel like you were the problem, twisting reality until you didn't trust your own judgment. This is not a mistake. This is their playbook. A narcissist's greatest weapon is emotional manipulation. They want you to react, to be upset, to defend yourself, to prove something to them. Because the moment they control your emotions, they control you. That's why Stoicism is the perfect antidote. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you stop giving them emotional reactions, their control starts slipping. And when they feel that loss of control, the real battle begins. Number 2. The moment the narcissist feels you slipping away. The first sign that you're breaking free isn't always obvious, but they feel it before you do. Maybe you started setting boundaries. Maybe you're no longer reacting the way you used to. Maybe their insults don't sting as much, or you've stopped seeking their approval. Whatever it is, they sense the shift. And for a narcissist, this is their worst nightmare. At first, they might pretend not to notice. They'll test you. Maybe they'll ignore you to see if you chase them, or throw a subtle insult to see if you react. When that doesn't work, they escalate. They might suddenly become overly kind, showering you with affection or fake apologies. If that doesn't pull you back in, they'll turn to guilt, anger, or even threats. This isn't about love. This isn't about missing you. This is about control. Stoic wisdom teaches us that we cannot control other people's actions, only our responses to them. Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." The moment you stop playing their game, they panic. Their entire manipulation strategy depends on your emotional reactions. When you don't give them what they expect, they become desperate. And that's when things start to unravel. Their world revolves around power and dominance. Losing control over you isn't just frustrating. It's a direct threat to their fragile ego. And what happens next? They'll do anything to pull you back in. But now, you hold the power. Number 3. The narcissist's panic mode. The moment a narcissist realizes they're losing control over you, their entire world shifts. It's no longer just about maintaining power. It's about survival. Their fragile ego can't handle rejection, and the thought of you slipping away sends them into full-blown panic mode. At first, their response may seem subtle. They might test you with small manipulations, texting you out of nowhere, pretending to be concerned, or suddenly acting like the person you originally fell for. They'll try to reel you back in with charm, nostalgia, or even fake vulnerability. But when that doesn't work, things escalate. They may start bombarding you with messages, demanding explanations, or showing up unexpectedly. If charm doesn't work, they might shift to guilt-tripping, reminding you of everything they've done for you, playing the victim, or blaming you for the downfall of the relationship. And if guilt fails, then comes the rage. This is when you might experience the infamous narcissistic outburst. Anger, accusations, insults. They'll say anything to trigger a reaction. If they can get you to engage, to fight back, to defend yourself, then they've won. Because to them, any reaction, even a negative one, is proof that they still have control. This is where Stoicism becomes your shield. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all." In other words, their chaos only affects you if you let it. The key is to remain calm, detached, and indifferent. The more you refuse to engage, the more powerless they become. And when they realize that none of their usual tactics are working, that's when they shift to their most destructive phase, trying to ruin your reputation. Number 4. The smear campaign damage control. When a narcissist can no longer control you, they try to control how others see you. This is when the smear campaign begins. They'll start spreading lies, twisting the story and portraying themselves as the victim. Suddenly, you're the one who was toxic, abusive, or ungrateful. They may tell mutual friends that you've wronged them, or exaggerate past situations to paint you as the villain. And here's the hardest part. You will be tempted to defend yourself. You'll want to correct the lies, explain your side, make people see the truth. But here's the thing, you don't need to. Seneca once said, "Time discovers truth. In the meantime, ignore the gossip." A narcissist's lies only hold power if you engage. If you stay silent, if you refuse to play into their drama, their manipulation loses momentum. People who truly know you will see through the deception, and those who believe the lies, they were never truly in your corner to begin with. The best revenge against a narcissist isn't proving them wrong. It's living so well that their lies become irrelevant. And as they realize that even their smear campaign isn't enough to bring you back, that's when they reach their breaking point. Number 5. Narcissistic rage desperation. By this point, the narcissist is unraveling. They've tried charm, guilt, and manipulation. They've attempted to destroy your reputation. But when nothing works, when they see you standing strong, unaffected, their desperation turns into rage. This isn't just ordinary anger. This is narcissistic rage, an uncontrollable, explosive reaction to their crumbling sense of power. See, narcissists don't handle rejection like normal people. To them, losing control over you isn't just frustrating. It's an attack on their very identity. Their entire ego depends on being admired, feared, or in control. And when you take that away, they feel exposed, weak, insignificant. That's why their rage can be so intense. They might lash out in cruel, deeply personal ways, bringing up past secrets, attacking your character, or even threatening you. They'll push every emotional button they can find, hoping to trigger a reaction. Because to them, even your anger means they still matter to you. And this is where most people fall back into the trap. You get angry. You try to defend yourself. You say things you regret. And before you know it, you're right back in their cycle of control. But here's where Stoicism gives you the ultimate advantage. Epictetus said, "When someone is properly grounded in life, they should not have to look outside themselves for approval." This is the moment to stand firm. Let them rant, let them insult you, let them throw their tantrum. But do not respond. Do not engage. Do not give them what they crave. The more indifferent you become, the more powerless they feel. And nothing destroys a narcissist more than indifference. When they realize they can't provoke you, when their words no longer have power, their rage eventually burns out. And then, they enter their final phase, the moment they truly lose control. Number 6. The final stage. Indifference hurts the narcissist most. If there's one thing narcissists fear more than anything, it's being irrelevant. They don't just want attention, they need it. Whether it's admiration or conflict, whether you love them or hate them, it doesn't matter. As long as you're reacting, as long as they occupy space in your mind, they still have control. But when you no longer care, when you no longer respond to their messages, react to their insults, or feel the need to explain yourself, that's when they know they've truly lost. At first, they might make a final attempt to reel you back in. They might come back with a fake apology, a sudden display of kindness, or even act like they've changed. But this is just another trick. And when they see that you're not falling for it, they start to fade away. This doesn't mean they accept defeat. Narcissists never truly take responsibility or admit they were wrong. Instead, they tell themselves a new story. Maybe that you were never worth their time, or that they were the ones who discarded you. But deep down, they know the truth. And the truth is, you won. Because the moment you reach true indifference, the moment their words, actions, and presence no longer affect you, that's the moment you're truly free. Seneca once said, "He who controls himself controls the world." And that's what you've done. By refusing to engage, by mastering your emotions, by choosing peace over chaos, you've taken back your power. The narcissist has lost control, and now, finally, you have gained yours. Number 7. Finding yourself again. The Stoic path to healing. Once the narcissist has lost control over you, the real journey begins, not for them, but for you. Because breaking free is one thing, healing is another. For so long, your identity may have been shaped by their influence, whether through their manipulation, their expectations, or the emotional roller coaster they kept you on. Now that they're out of your life, there's a strange silence. Maybe it feels like relief. Maybe it feels empty. Maybe you don't even know who you are without them, and that's okay. This is your time to rebuild. Stoicism teaches that true strength isn't about avoiding pain. It's about transforming it. Instead of focusing on what you lost, focus on what you gained. Your peace, your clarity, your freedom. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If you keep thinking about the past, replaying old wounds, and wondering why they did what they did, you'll stay stuck in their shadow. But when you shift your focus to the present, to the things you can control, you reclaim your power. Start with small things. Reconnect with old passions. Spend time with people who support you. Set new goals. Build a life where the narcissist is nothing but a distant memory. The less space they take up in your mind, the more room you have for yourself. And here's the best part. You're not just healing. You're becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. The very thing that was meant to break you has instead forged you into someone unshakable. And as you move forward, the question becomes, what happens to them when they can no longer control you? Number 8. What happens to the narcissist when they lose control? Now that you're free, you might wonder, what happens to the narcissist? Do they change? Do they regret what they've done? Do they ever realize their mistakes? The short answer? No. Narcissists don't self-reflect the way normal people do. They don't sit and think, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I need to change. Instead, they rewrite the story in their minds to avoid responsibility. They tell themselves that you were the problem, that you were ungrateful, that they chose to walk away. It's all a defense mechanism to protect their fragile ego. But here's the reality. They feel the loss. Not because they miss you as a person, but because they miss the control. They miss having someone to manipulate, someone to validate them, someone to orbit around them. And so, they do what narcissists always do. They look for a new source of supply. At first, they may appear fine. Maybe they jump into a new relationship, flaunt their happiness online, or act as if losing you didn't affect them. But deep down, the cycle continues. They will repeat the same toxic patterns with someone else, because without real self-awareness, true change is impossible. And this is why you don't need revenge. You don't need them to apologize. You don't need them to suffer, because they already are. They are forever trapped in their own emptiness, forever searching for control, forever running from the one thing they fear most, themselves. Meanwhile, you are free. Seneca said, "The greatest revenge is not to be like your enemy. You've done what they could never do. You faced the truth. You let go. You chose peace. And in the end, that's what truly destroys a narcissist. Not your anger, not your retaliation, but your absolute indifference. And that is how you win. Conclusion: true freedom from the narcissist's grip. So here you are. The battle is over. The narcissist has lost control, and you've stepped into a new reality, one where you hold the power. But this isn't just about escaping their manipulation. This is about something much bigger. This is about mastering yourself. Because in the end, that's what Stoicism teaches us. It's not about controlling others, seeking revenge, or proving a point. It's about gaining such a deep sense of inner strength that nothing outside of you can shake your peace. Think about where you started. At one point, the narcissist had full control of your emotions, your thoughts, maybe even your identity. They dictated how you felt, whether you were worthy, whether you were loved. But not anymore. Now you see the truth. Now you understand their game. And most importantly, you understand that their power was never real. It only existed because you gave it to them. But you don't give them anything anymore. No energy, no reactions, no space in your mind. And that is the greatest victory of all. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Your peace is in your hands. Your healing is in your hands. Your future is in your hands. So take this moment and breathe. You've done something incredible. You've broken free from someone who never wanted you to. You've taken back your life, and from this point forward, you decide what happens next. And the best part, the narcissist can't do a thing about it because they have lost, and you have won.